with its superior strength and power, plus completion of routines. It's no different in 1990. They truly set the pace for the rest of the world. For Team USA, the Soviets are the gauge by which greatness is measured. Youthful exuberance and a fearless desire to improve is what they bring to the sport. Today, it is yet another athletic summit between these two world powers. ESPN presents the United States-Soviet Union Gymnastics Challenge. This is the San Jose State University Event Center, and it is here that for the 7th time, the United States and Soviet Union compete in dual competition. It's the 1990 McDonald's Gymnastics Challenge. Hi again, everyone. I am Tim Brando, and it has been a long, hot, grueling summer for the competitors of the Soviet Union and the United States. Only one last opportunity in a dual competition for these two before the World Cup come late October. It's always an exciting event, though, when the United States and the Soviet Union get together. It's always exciting for me to work with Bart Connor, past Olympic champion. Domination, Bart, seems to be the key word for the Soviets, but you know, the names and faces change year by year.
But the domination is certainly there, and what's most important about the Soviet team is their incredible team depth. Any one of the 6 competitors here could win the all-around today. Even Igor Korobchinsky, the current world all-around champion, isn't necessarily a favorite today. Vitaly Sherbu just won the Goodwill Games by scoring a perfect 10 in his vault. He's one of our favorites, as Valery Liukin, the first gymnast to ever perform the triple back on floor exercise in international competition. He was second in the all-around in the Olympic Games in Seoul.
Domination, a key word for the Soviets, improving the key word for the United States. They have come a long way since last year's World Championships, performed admirably in the recently held Goodwill Games, and this type of format where optionals come into play usually plays into their hands.
And there's certainly a very important opportunity for the U.S. team in the next couple of years with the World Championships coming up as well as the Olympic Games. It's a very exciting young team. 2 people to watch for. Cheney Humphrey was recently the all-around champion in the U.S. Olympic Festival, as well as Jared Hanks. He's a very talented young man out of the University of Oklahoma. If he could put together a strong competition today, they could give the challenge to the Soviets.
All right, we have a third member of our broadcast team working with us for the first time. We're looking forward to his interviews with some of the special athletes throughout the course of this competition. One of those special athletes is with him right now. Let's get to Kevin Cusick. Kevin?
Okay, thank you, Timmy Brando. I'm with Bill Roth, and since 1982, the Soviets have had 6 dual competitions against the United States. The Soviets have won 5 of those 6. Bill, what do we have to do to win today?
Considering that the Soviet Union is a big powerhouse in the sport of gymnastics, today I think that if we hit all our events, meaning no missed landings, everything to the peak, then I think we could win.
The last couple days you've spent with the Soviets, both training and spending a little social time with them. What have you learned about gymnastics and how they train?
It's real funny. They're real serious when they get in the gym, and when it comes down to gymnastics, they're very serious. But outside the gym, they're just like any other person. They're fun to be around.
Many people say that it's the strength is the difference between us and them in their gymnastics. Do you find that to be true?
Yes, I do. Their strength is phenomenal. They come in for 2 hours when we're working out, and they just do straight strength.
Bill, you were the first to score a perfect 10 at the national championships this year. What should we look for you to do today?
Hopefully score another one. But anyway, today on vaulting, I'm throwing a new vault, so that should be fun to watch. High bar is always exciting to watch, and also floor exercise.
Okay, Bill, good luck. We're getting ready to start the first rotation. Tim Brando, back to you.
Igor Korobchinsky, the current world champion. How good is the Soviet Union? When we'll consider this, at the recently held Goodwill Games back in the summer, he was an alternate. Now, he has had some injury problems, but then again, that shows you just how deep they are.
This is without a doubt one of his best events. Watch his opening run. A laid out, full out. Korobchinsky surprised quite a few people last year when he won the Europeans and then went on to win the world all-around title. Since then, as you mentioned, Tim, he's had some problems. He had arthroscopy on his right knee, and because of that injury, that's the reason he has been held back for the last few months and not placed as a regular member on the Soviet team. But he seems to be back in terrific form and without a doubt one of our favorites today. Wow. That move is a side flip, 1 3/4. But what makes it so impressive is how he lays out the second flip. His last tumbling run should be to lay it out double back. There it is. Oh, and out of bounds.
So that's at least a 1/10 of a point deduction that we're aware of.
Right, the judges will take a 1/10 because he made the step, and also a 1/10 because he went out of bounds. So technically the maximum he can receive is a 9.8 on that routine. Let's look at that third tumbling run. Side, 1 3/4. Notice the laid out position there before he ducks under and rolls. That makes it impressive, but I have to admit it also makes it pretty dangerous. You have to nail that just right.
Korobczynski, 21 years of age, out of Volgograd in the Soviet Union. Began gymnastics at the age of 7. Jared Hanks, youngster from Oklahoma, a man that plays in your backyard, so to speak, Bart, and I know you're very fond of him. Jared, born in Lafayette, Louisiana, onto the pommel horse.
And Jared is really one of the most talented young men on the U.S. team. He's very strong. He's had a problem in the past with inconsistency.
No, I can't.
But he's a very quick study. He learns moves quickly and with his style. He's very impressive. Strong routine for Jared.
Yes, and the crowd responds.
These are the single leg work, what they call scissors. This is a requirement. He picks up back into the circles, out to the end, and very quickly up to handstand. That's important because all the gymnasts are using handstand positions, but it's important that they not struggle on their way up. And this is a great angle to see the hand placement on the pommels, as well as without the pommels as he travels across the horse in a move that was invented by Tong Fei, who currently is a coach at Stanford, originally from the Chinese team.
More of this, the first rotation, when we continue with the McDonald's U.S. Challenge in just a moment. Valery Liukin of the Soviet Union as we continue with the first window, along with Bart Connor and Kevin Cuse for this afternoon's USA-USSR Gymnastics Challenge. Liukin has that Californian look.
They've been over here a couple of weeks, and they competed in the Goodwill Games, and then there was a training camp with the U.S. and the Soviet teams together, and they've been spending a lot of time together, out in the sun, having fun, going out in the evenings. It's been a really terrific experience. Liukin opened with a full-in back out. I noticed in practice he was having plenty of trouble with his tumbling. I don't know exactly what's wrong, but if you remember, this young man was the first guy in the Olympic Games to do a triple backflip on floor exercise. Excuse me, he did it in the European Championships. And then his teammate Gogoladze was the first to do it in the Olympic Games.
Then later in Seoul, you'll recall, on the pommel horse, he had a perfect 10, and of course that's what the USA is on in this rotation.
One of the qualities that Liukin has is he just packs the difficulty into all of his routines. All day long, you'll notice that there's a certain level of difficulty that's required in every routine, and Liukin maxes out with difficulty, and that's one of the reasons for the big scores. Here's his last run. Another full in and a little bit short on the landing. He's having some trouble. I don't know quite what it is. He might be a little confused. He's been working on several different elements, and he watered his routine back quite a bit in terms of difficulty on that routine, and I'm sure they'll make some significant deductions because of that.
As we mentioned, it has been a long summer of competition for all of these athletes, and you wonder if we're going to see the effects of that through this competition.
Well, they're all a little bit beat up, and there have been some problems. Liukin had broken his arm about a little more than a year ago in Germany. His last tumbling run was a full in, double back, a little bit short, a little sloppy, not typical of Liukin's style and is a very explosive performance.
They've heard all their lives about the warm California sun, and now they're feeling the results.
Liukin gets a 9.7 in that floor X, and Conrad Vorzinger out of Stanford. Not far from here, Palo Alto. He's ventured up to the Silicon Valley, and he's getting quite a warm reception. Born in San Francisco, Vorzinger, 22 years of age. Scholar athlete at Stanford. Just got his degree in mechanical engineering.
Conrad has a very quick style on pommel horse. He looks like he's in a little bit of a hurry. There's a couple of minor form breaks. There's a lot of difficulty there in the last half of the routine, however. Strong performance. He's glad to get by that routine. Pommel horse is always a really difficult event to open up a competition on because although you have to be very quick and very precise, it's very easy to fall off. And if you're a little wired from all that nervous energy because it's your first performance of the day, you can have some trouble. Conrad showed good rhythm as he lowered into the center of the horse and fulfilled the requirement of doing the single leg work. It's a good opportunity to see exactly the hand placement on the pommels. Traveled one pommel work down to the end, which fulfills another requirement, a 3-hand placement on one pommel. There's a lot of technical things that the judges have to look for in each exercise.
Vorsinger with a 9.775. You're right. That's a good score for him on the pommel horse. So he got some homespun high fives and had some success there. Here is Vitaly Sherbo. And this is an outstanding apparatus for him. He loves the floor exercise.
Where do you see his opening tumbling run?
He won the all-around title at the Goodwill Games.
A laid out, a full twist in the second flip. They totally nailed it. There's the flares up to handstand. The flares, of course, invented by Kurt Thomas. First performed in international competition by Kurt Thomas. Double full punch front. Wow, he's clean. And he's in no hurry. This is something I like about his style, although he's a very young man. He takes his time and his presentation is very mature. Making sure every landing is right on.
And he loves to stick them after a tumbling run, and that final tumble run's about to occur. It seems to be a specialty, Bart.
He does a laid-out double backflip, one of the best in the world, and the last move of his routine. Wow. You know, there's not a lot of guys who can do a laid-out double backflip like that, even at the beginning of the exercise. But when you're tired, and let me tell you, this is primarily an anaerobic exercise. The routine is a little bit more than a minute long. You cannot take in enough oxygen to recover quickly enough, and yet he finishes with a very strong laid-out double back. His second tumbling run, this is the double full through to a punch front. Notice it's very clean, knees together, good form, and excellent flexibility. What's most impressive, however, is this laid-out double backflip. Watch how the second flip even climbs higher than the first. And he spots the landing nicely.
In the Soviet Union, they talk about the school of gymnastics, and that's the reason for their dominance after the Japanese had really been the dominant country in the 70s. All of the gymnasts that won gold medals became coaches, and sticking those mounts and dismounts, they're outstanding at that. Here is Bill Roth of the United States. Class clown of the American team, and we'll document that for you a bit later. Makes his home in Philadelphia, born in Yonkers, New York.
Competes at Temple, of course, with Fred Turoff as his coach there, and Bill has had a terrific year. He really is one of the most exciting members of the U.S. team because he tries all the big moves. Good combination there, opening. Oh, in a little trouble. Good cover, though. Those are the flares as he travels across the horse. Had a little trouble, but he didn't give away much of a deduction there. Kept the rhythm going very nicely.
Not bad. Not bad at all for Bill Roth on the pommel horse. You see him rolling his eyes. I got away with one, guys.
I'm sure it'll score pretty well because he didn't give away any major points, but he certainly wasn't very comfortable up there. And as we mentioned, it's hard to open up the competition on pommel horse because you're wired and you have to be very calm on pommel horse. He has good rhythm in the scissors, as we see here. He picks up, and his dismount is a little unusual. Travels down to the end without the pommels, all the way around to a loop with a half turn. We've seen him do it better, but I'm sure he's glad to get by that one because his best events are coming up next.
Yeah, his recent rush of 5 gold medals at the 1990 Olympic Festival in Minneapolis that you saw this past summer could continue. One rotation down, 5 more to come as Bart and Kevin and I return to San Jose in a moment.
875.